Come over here. Come here, you big scaredy cat. Come here. Berkley. Here.
You have to be patient. You have to be willing to do your homework ahead of time to know what you're getting into. I had to make that commitment to her that I was going to keep her through thick and thin no matter what. My fox's name is Berkley. She is going on 11 years old this next April. My name is Torrey. I am from Kokomo, Indiana, and I grew up more out in the country. My dad's side had farm animals, so I was always used to being around animals from a very young age. My mom's side, we lived out on 13 acres, so animals have been a huge part of our lives. Berkley started out indoors when she was young, so I had her from 3 weeks old when I purchased her from a breeder. That time is really critical when they're young to bond with what they would see as basically their owner and or their mom. As she got older, some of that changed. Around the teenage phase is when your patience will be tested. They are obviously growing into adulthood, so they have a lot of those characteristics coming out. Hormones are kicking in. They become a little more destructive than they were when they were little. About that 8-month period is when she started getting a little tooty, I like to call it. Some of those wild instincts would come out. About the 1-year mark is when we decided to transition her to being an outdoor animal, and we had her enclosure ready to go from that point on. One misconception that people have is when I get a fox, oh, it's going to be indoors, just like a cat or dog, and it doesn't always work out that way. If your house is carpeted, good luck to you. You have to be understanding that that animal is going to want to dig. They can be pack rats. She will take food or toys or whatever it is that you give her, and she will hoard it. And they are known for doing that. They will burrow their belongings or their food into areas that they can dig up and eat later. Attitude from a fox can come and go. If she doesn't know what something is, her mood can change kind of quickly. They are great animals, but she can get a little attitude sometimes. We used to live out in the country. Now we live here smack dab in the middle of town. So when I first moved here, which has been 3 years ago, I was terrified that she was not going to adjust to city life well. Not only that, but having neighbors in close proximity. So that was a challenge, I would say, more for myself than for her. She adapted very well. I had to kind of put myself at ease and realize that, all right, she's gonna be okay. I was worried she would try to jump our fence. We have the backyard privacy fenced in. This is Ozzy. He's my baby. The little orange fluff, that's Yumi. Berkley and my other animals are best friends. You know, she's got those dog-like characteristics and she's been around dogs her whole life, so sometimes I think she thinks she's a dog. They play, they wrestle, she loves belly rubs, she loves scratches. They will run around the yard and chase each other. She does very well with other animals. Compared to a traditional dog or any other animal of that aspect, Berkley requires a special diet. I give her a mix of a lot of different things to make sure that she's still getting the nutrition that she needs, but she is a very particular eater. That could be another misconception that people see is, oh, it's just like a dog or it's just like a cat. I'm going to feed it dog food or cat food. She has to have a very particular diet. Sometimes she will get meat. I don't feed her completely raw meat because I don't necessarily want that wild instinct to kind of kick in more. There have been a couple times where I have come out to her pen and there's been an unlucky mouse or an unlucky bird that somehow she has been able to get through there and she has made a nice snack of them. Another misconception people think when they get a fox staying indoors for their whole life, they don't consider some of those characteristics that come with the wild animal, one of those being the smell. So as cute as she is, she stinks. She stinks very bad. Foxes have a very particular odor in their urine, and when they go to the bathroom, you will be able to tell. She pees on everything that she loves, so even her bed and her food. It's just part of the animal that she is. The smell is something that resembles a skunk. It is very pungent. That's another reason why she is not indoors at that stage where she was in her teenage years learning how to mark. That's when I decided to transition her outside. I don't take Berkley out socially. She is more skittish. Being 11 years old, she's truly in her golden years now, and I don't like to overstimulate her too much. She will warm up to people the more that she is around them. Obviously, me and my husband and my family members, she absolutely adores. When we have parties at the house or get-togethers during the summer, she tends to hide a little bit, but she will open up the more that you are around her. When she was young, I did socialize her a lot more. I would take her on walks. She did well on a leash. At that time when she was younger, she didn't mind the car. As she got older, it started to be a little more overstimulating for her. So I think owning a fox right now has been really glamorized due to the rise in social media, whether it be on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of those. We kind of live in a world right now where you see the best of everything in the highlight reel. So you're gonna see all of those great parts about having a fox. And that's not to say that owning a fox is not great, because I love her and I do not regret getting Berkley at all. I absolutely adore her. I love her. I'm so grateful that she's my pet. Owning a fox has been a very fulfilling experience. That's not to say that there are not challenges. I would say some good traits that a fox owner or an exotic animal owner needs to have are compassion, understanding, knowing what you're getting yourself into. Take the time to do your research and do your homework so that you're prepared ahead of time. You don't want to be blindsided and think that this is going to be like any other dog or cat that you get or any other animal that you can buy from a shelter or a breeder. When you get a fox, you also need to have a home. It's not an animal that you can have in an apartment. You need to have an actual home and a place that you can build that enclosure and understand that they may move from inside to outside. You may have them do both. I know a lot of people that may have been in my situation where, again, I moved from being out in the country into being in town, and that may be a big adjustment for the owner and the animal. But again, I made that life commitment and I vowed to myself that I was going to keep her through thick and thin. She is like my children. I have a lot of animals at my house and she is very much a child to me. She's just like my dogs. I know that people will go through divorces or moves or whatever, wherever life takes them, career changes, it can be anything. And sometimes they say, I can't take my animal with me. You have to be committed to that animal and understand that when you purchase that animal, it's a life commitment.